truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John H. Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John H. Very happy to be back with you once again, almost in the dark side of the AM. I will absolutely be taking you into the dark side of the AM. We're sitting at 11:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State, I'll be your tour guide as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global, satanic death cult of pedophiles. Check out anomicage.com if you've not already done so. Please like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions, paypal.me/anomicage, patreon.com/anomicage as well. Those are the best ways you can support me. We got the Cash App, buy me a cup of coffee, the aforementioned Patreon, excuse me, and PayPal app. Right there, we got the free iPhone app, the free Android app, the subscribe by email link, and so much more. You guessed it. It's right there at anomicage.com, so please do so. If you can do no more, share the links, 5-star reviews, kind words, salutations, the usual suspect stuff that you would expect from the Anomic Age. So, happy to be back with you again. Seems like it's been forever, but it really hasn't. Only been a couple days. So, quite lovely out there in the coastal plain of the Old North State. I must say, I love this time of year, even in North Carolina. We got like 2-3 months of happiness. It's not hot. It's not humid. Very little bugs out. It's just a veritable smorgasbord of glee, fun, and happiness. You can see your breath when you go outside. There's no irritating mosquitoes, no 100% humidity while it's 100 degrees. It's just actually nice outside for a couple months. So I'm looking forward to that. Absolutely looking forward to the Halloween season. Can't wait for Halloween. I was going to try to go to the state fair this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to make that or not. I've missed it for decades now, so I guess what's one more year? Guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Nevertheless, we got some good Halloween stuff coming up, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to try to get some guests on to talk about Halloween-y topics, but I think I'm going to save that for post-Halloween so we can actually kind of get through the awful months of November and good grief. Don't even mention December. We got some fun coming up, so that's good. At least we have some fun coming up at the end of this month, so that's something to make life a little bit more bearable. So, oddly enough, going into today, early-ish, morning-ish, I was not really sure what I was going to do. But then, luckily, the buffet of buffoonery dinner bell rang, and everybody ran to the trough of stupidity. Ironically enough, I mentioned this on last week's episode. I mentioned that I was a little bit excited about the NBA season. Coming from the coastal plain of the Old North State, I love basketball. I'm always going to love basketball, folks. So you can save your snide comments of it's sports ball and it's all rigged and all that. Yeah, I know. I feel you. Like I said on the last show, I know it's all a sham, a hustle, a dodge, and a con. But not too far from Tobacco Road, so I really love college basketball. I used to. I hate college basketball now, but used to. I grew up actually loving college basketball. And now I just kind of vaguely have the NBA on in the background idle distraction is good sometimes. What's that old thing from The Shining? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Makes John a dull boy, too. I mean, really just angry is what it really boils down to. So I'm excited at least a little bit to talk about, what the slaves call it is foosball, right? So we got to talk a little foosball. Yeah, we do. Let's put this up there. Can we put this up there, folks? Yes, I knew we could do it. So we're going to talk a little foosball. And I don't really have a whole lot to cover after that, folks. I usually try to backload the show with a lot of just news and stuff. What's the old Little Richard thing? Back end it with a little tutti frutti, because that's pretty much all the news is. It's just a little tutti frutti, all rooty. It's just whatever Trump's screwing us with today, whatever the latest war is. I don't know. Who's getting supposedly shaken down by the feds? Who's not? The continual diatribe of the live version of Clue with the Charlie Kirk murder, assassination, or op, or all three sort of compiled into one. All that's kind of slowed down now. So I think everybody's kind of at least resting on the fact that it'll be like JFK, MLK, RFK 2, just like 9/11. We'll never know who did it to you. I think that's kind of where we're at. Because, anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear knows that the guy they got in prison, if that guy's even real, I think Stu Peters was the first to mention this, and I'll second it. We don't even know if this guy's real. We really don't. Could be just another really good CGI thing or another AI bit. Who the heck knows? So, there's that. What the heck happened to the Rumble feed? Did I just go Pluey or what? Huh. Maybe so. I don't know. Oh, well. I've kind of just said phooey on a lot of this streaming lately. At least I'll have a copy of this. It'll get posted on my social media outlets. Whatever happens, I don't really know. I hope it works out on the Patriots Prayer Network. I hope it actually is doing something real up there. The world may never know. But you will definitely know that it'll be on my social media and my account and at anomicage.com. So you can bet your sweet bippy it'll be there. Anyway, you didn't come here for that. No. You wanted to talk about sports ball. So, in lieu of everything else just going to who cares, the peace treaty being a joke, the new peace treaty with Ukraine and Russia, also a joke. Giving all kinds of food breaks to Argentina with their cattle, a joke. I mean, it's all just hilarious at this point. I don't know how anyone can cover this kind of stuff with not like the most ridiculous, black-pilled, sardonic, misanthropic sneer. Because that's really what's up, folks. 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. It's all the same. It's all the same. Just varying degrees of, yeah. So anyway, what we got to talk about today is people getting arrested, allegedly. Who knows? Who really knows? All right, let's pull the other one up here. Because we got to talk a little about LeBronzy, my favorite uppeteer puppeteer. LeBronzy. No, we ain't even going to talk about steroids yet. We're going to talk about what? No, this. I see. We're going to talk about this. Cash Patel. Good grief. That in and of itself is a joke. But we're going to talk a little Cash Patel. I'm going to just let this one do what it do. I'll come back and talk to you. How about that? Here we go. Cierra la boca, abren los orejas.
New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people from money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where card games are being played. We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media.
Okie dokie. So I think you're picking up what old Cash Patel is putting down there, huh? Pretty sure you are. Okay, so to break it down, first and foremost, La Cosa Nostra, not La Casa Nostra. So I don't know what's going on with that. But La Cosa Nostra, not La Casa Nostra. Eso es diferente. Es italiano, de mexicano, Totally different, all right? Totally different. Well, a little bit different. Not, a letter off. Anyway, you didn't come here to get a daggone grammar lesson in foreign languages. No. And it looks like I'm back up on the streams. I don't know what in the devil happened. But thank the Lord, I'm back up. So, Patriots prayer people, hang with me. Took me, I don't know what the freak went down. The StreamYard app seemed to just get out of Dodge. But allegedly, it's back up and running. So, thank you. Anyway, so here's what's going down. Cash Patel had to come out there and say, oh, my gracious goodness sakes alive. We arrested 3 people. Tres personas. So we arrested 3 people. So we got Damon Jones. If you're playing, or if you're looking at the screen there and you're playing the Who in the Devil is This, Damon Jones would be this gentleman right underneath LeBron James, right above the DraftKings logo. So there you go. So we got Damon Jones was arrested. We got Terry Rozier. Known while he was in Boston as Scary Terry, quite a clutch performer. He's right above the FanDuel Casino logo. And then above old Scary Terry, we got Chauncey Billups, as he was once announced as a Detroit Piston, champion of the NBA, and so forth and so on. So that's old Chauncey over there above Scary Terry. I think everybody already knows these other two. I'll say it, John. They already know these other two boobs. We got Adam Silva, sadly a Duke alum. Adam Silver there in the middle. That's the scary guy that looks like an alien. El Blanco. Yeah. And then the gentleman, and I use these terms very loosely, to the left of old big-eared Adam, we got LeBron James. Queen James, if you're nasty. So that's who we got on the screen there. So in case you were playing along with the which criminal is gone to the Who Scowl Now bingo card, yeah, you got Darren, you got Terry, you got Chauncey. Those jokers have all apparently been arrested by the FBI, and as old Cash Patel was so aptly putting, all connected to gambling. And these three players all played and or coached in the NBA. Well, they all played, and 2 out of 3 there is doing some coaching. Maybe 3 out of 3. I don't know if Darren did any coaching or not. Maybe so. Who really cares? Bottom line is these folks all got some bracelets put on them today and escorted to the car with some sort of alleged gambling ties. We can assume that's with NBA games because these are NBA coaches and or players. And they have some big connections, as he mentioned there, the Gambino crime family and I believe 3 or 4 other ones. So we got some pretty big connections here with all this. So the one name that you ain't seeing just quite yet, I guess. We've seen a lot of ties to this gentleman. That's LBJ, old LeBron Z. James. So, I guess you really just have to ask yourself, when will LeBron Z. James, if at all, receive the handcuff perp walk treatment like these other 3 individuals? So Chauncey was still a coach for Portland, head coach of Portland. So I guess he's just on a leave. Maybe he's on a little permanent vacation. I think Terry Rozier still playing in the league as well. Damon there, not so much. I think he's assistant, some sort of, coach somewhere. Not an assistant coach. I don't even think he's a coach anymore, but we'll see. Doesn't really matter to me. Anyway, say all that to say this. That's what we got. And so a lot of people are going, who really cares, John? Who really cares about all this jibber jabber? Well, the great Jason Whitlock covered a lot of this several months back, and I agree with his hypothesis on this. And I also want to throw some more names out there because the great Big Reed has covered this quite aptly on his show. I don't know if it's exactly a show, but whatever you want to call what Big Reed does, he does it quite aptly. So I shout out to Big Reed in Philly. Big Reed's been saying this for a while too, and I got to agree with you too. So what we really got going on here, in my humble opinion, is the end of most of these big sports leagues. And I know somebody's going, oh, but John, these are multi-billion-dollar leagues. How can it be the end? Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'd say we're kind of on the waning side of the middle. We're darn near approaching the end. This is the end. And I think that's kind of where we're at in this whole sports league thing. Because after all this really was bread and circuses for the slave class. You see, people with real money don't give a rat's patoot about this mess. This is for the slave class to get involved in. This is for the slave class to lose their paycheck on. This is for the slave class to lose their family on, lose their spouse with, lose their house and car and everything else with. That's what this is all about, folks. Because the point of this bread and circuses is that they know the menfolk have always been the leaders of the tribe. The menfolk have been the people out there on the front lines defending the family, defending the tribe, defending your band society, always up, all the way up, rather, to defending the state level society. So the men folk have always been that, the defenders of the realm, if you will. Here's another one. The men folk have also been that archetypal father figure. Yeah, I know, Carl Jung, archetypal, yes. So the men folk have been the archetypal father figure. They've been the archetypal figure that the los niños, the young children, primarily the young boys, look up to as that is the leader. That is the strong masculine presence that's going to guide the tribe into safety, that's going to defend the tribe from the wolves, from the bears, from the neighboring tribes. That's the point, folks. And it goes hand in hand with the female. It's like God planned it this way or something. It's amazing, isn't it? So you get the strong, masculine, dominant energy, the energy that will defend, the energy that's more apt to just make that decision. Yes, this is what we need to do. No, we don't need to sit around and mull it over. We don't need to talk about what you want to eat, what I want to eat, what the kids want to eat for 20 freaking minutes. This is what we're going to do. And go. Action. That being said, like I mentioned many times on the show, it works hand in hand with the female energy. That more nurturing, that more emotional, that more let's gather the food, let's prepare the food, let's stockpile the food for a rainy day and have something for the menfolk to come home to, have something for them to defend, have something, that nurturing presence, that creation of life that creates the next generation. Works hand in hand. Beautiful. That's the godly way that it's all meant to be. But the bread and circuses, folks, the bread and circuses, been going on since the Greeks, since the Romans. If you want to fill in the Aztecs, Olmecs, and Mayans, and so many more that practice the ball game. It's kind of all the same, folks. It's how can we distract? How can we take that strong energy and curtail it? How can we redirect it into something just stupid? So now we have a society of men who know way more about the sports score, the box score, their favorite player, who their favorite player's dating, what the favorite player's eating, how they're going to perform on this night, and how they did last night, and how they might do in 2 weeks from now. The men folk know way more about that now than they actually know about what matters. You know, global events, local events, anything under the realm of actually mattering to the family, to the tribe, to the people. So men are way more likely to paint themselves the color of their team, to wear the big jersey, to act like a big boob. But wait, because the Karens are involved now too. I mean, you saw that with the Milwaukee game about a week ago, and you saw that at the Phillies game, I think like about 3-4 weeks ago, where the females are involved too. They've got to get out there too and pretend to be men and pretend to have this masculine energy, but they don't. They have this emotional house slave controlling energy. They want to be the nanny state. If they're not the nanny state at the house with the kids, then they transfer that to the nanny state out in public. And they want to see the manager, and they want to boss people around, and they want to be in these pseudo-intellectual leadership positions in academia, in the workplace, and the like. So that's their new role. So it's the emasculation of the men and the masculization of the females. It's sick. But that's where we're at in 2025. So I'm just putting the pieces on the board for you so you know what's up. But wait, there's more. Because again, there's people going, who really cares about the sports ball, George? It's all just boulder dash. You know, I mentioned this on the last episode. I've mentioned it so many times before. I believe the gentleman's name is Brian Toohey. He did a number of books. His first one on this was The Fix Is In. This was in the, I believe, late 90s, early 2000s. And I believe he put out at least one more incarnation of the series, if not two. But if you know and know, then you also are familiar with the fact that there was other people doing this in the 80s. I believe there was someone on The Tonight Show, if not Jay Leno when he took over for Johnny Carson, talking about just that, like pre-Brian Toohey, The Fix Is In, talking about how the sports were all rigged. But here's the deal. The problem is Americans are so into their team, their show, their favorite actors, their favorite actress, their favorite musician, or whatever you want to throw in there. And they have what I've mentioned so many times before on the show, the parasocial relationship. They have a parasocial relationship with these people. And they become so emotionally invested, especially the women, but also the men now. Keep in mind, it's kind of two different planes. Like the women, the soap operas, their favorite actress, their favorite comedian, whatever. The men, they are gravitating towards that masculine energy. So they're putting that same stupidity, that same blind spot, that same myopic mindset into the sports. So they actually believe that these sports stars care about them, that they care about their team, that they're real involved in the fan base. I mean, this is something we saw pre the current commissioner. This was really, I saw this with David Stern, where they would have all these different sports teams and they would always have the photo op with the big star of the team. And he'd be out there like holding a hammer. He'd be out there like holding a paintbrush. And they'd show these different superstars in their cities, you know, doing their part. Oh, they're out there helping. Look, there's Dirk Nowitzki. He's painting. Oh, look, here's Steve Nash. He's holding a hammer. Oh, here's Kobe Bryant. He's shaking a kid's hand at some meet and greet. You know, this was a kind of bull butter that they infused primarily in the 90s and beyond. The general public, aka the boob class, and they made them believe that, oh, these people care. These people actually give a rat's patoot about the city, the people, even, dare I say, the NBA itself. In the same way, the wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi, that they had the women buying into, oh, same parasocial relationship with the actors, actresses, musicians, and so forth. See, that's how it is. So they got both sexes, and notice I said sexes because there's no gender. That's just a bunch of social science horse patuck. So they got both sexes to buy into their incarnation of parasocial reality. So therein lies the problem, because you have this idol worship, this hero worship. You're no longer worshiping the grandfather, the father, that strong masculine energy in the family. Oh no, that's just déclassé now, because now you get to worship LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, whoever else the next boob is. So that was in place in the 90s, early 2000s. And then you'll notice, especially in the last 5 years, but they've been working towards this for quite some time, this real hardline push for gambling, sports gambling. I don't know how many states this crap's legalized in now and how many it's not. I really don't care. I'm just showing you what's going on and how it's being done, how it's being rolled out. Last 5 years, this real big push for gambling. That's why you have on the screen there these icons for FanDuel and the icons for DraftKings. Those are the two biggest markets for sports gambling. And this has gone hand in hand with the advent of the smartphone and the app and everything else, because now they've got the slaves with their little light box looking at the colors. Oh, it's so fascinating. We can follow our star. We can track the stats. We can place bets at the click of a button. It's so easy to go into debt. It's so easy now to lose everything. It's so easy and it's cool. You see, these were once vices. Hence the vice and narcotics squad. Vices being prostitution, gambling, and the selling of illicit things like narcotics, like illegal weapons. Ooh. This is everything from Miami Vice, but now it's normalized, standardized, and subsidized by the American people. It's got that lovely little piece of paper they used to have on the toilettes in hotels. Oh, it's sanitized for your protection. That's in essence what they're saying now with FanDuel and DraftKings. It's sanitized for your protection. Oh, you don't have to go to the bookie anymore. Oh, no. You don't have to go to those number runners. Oh, no, not anymore. Don't go to the bodega or your local convenience store, and in the back room you might be able to place a bet. Nay, 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 nay. You see, it's all sanitized, subsidized, and standardized now. You can just do it in a clean manner on your phone. And they've done the same mess with the other vices too, folks. Please don't be that stupid. That's why there's porn so readily available now. Oh, it's so easy. You see, you don't have to go to that store. You don't have to get that magazine in the brown package. No. You see, now you just click and there it is on your phone. Click and there it is on your browser, on your computer, your laptop, your pad, your pod, your device. It's all been made way more easy, you see? And there's a reason why, ladies and gentlemen. They want it to be more easy because they know that with these vices, these deadly sins, you remember the 7 deadly sins from the Bible? Remember the 10 Commandments? Remember all these vices that were once very obviously a negative connotation, something that was, something you didn't really talk about people doing. Oh, no, that's not cool. You just don't do that, right? And if people did do that, it was hushed tones behind velvet ropes, behind brown paper bags, and behind some little dividers and separators in the video store. But not anymore. Not anymore, because now it's normal to be some OnlyFans model. Now it's normal to just gamble all the time. Now it's just normal to embrace being a druggy piece of trash. Because after all, everybody's CBD, and now, man, everybody's got the weed and the vapes too. Everybody's microdosing because it's cool, you know. Society says it's cool. The Overton window has shifted. Everything's moved over even further. And everything that was once low-class, bottom-feeder trash actions are now just accepted, standardized, normalized. It's okay to be a piece of garbage now. It's okay. So, irony of ironies, folks. Pete Rose, posthumously admitted into Cooperstown. Greatest hitter of all time. More hits than anybody else. Broke Ty Cobb's record decades ago. He's been circling the drain of the MLB Hall of Fame for at least 25, 30 years, I believe. He died, and finally they put this man in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. He admitted to betting on games, but said he never bet on Reds games, never bet on games he was coaching nor playing for. Okay. If you believe it, if you don't believe it, I don't even care. I'm saying so much was made about Pete Rose and his illegitimacy to the Hall of Fame for decades now. But you got to wonder why. I don't know. I'm not going to hazard a guess. I'm going to let you figure it out. And then during the steroid era of baseball, anybody who didn't know that steroids were rampant in baseball during the quote-unquote steroid era, if you did not know that, I would chalk that failure up to sheer stupidity, willing ignorance, or maybe you're just special needs or something. I don't know. That's the only way that you could look at what was going on during the steroid era. You know, the 90s. Everybody wants to look back so fondly of the 90s. Yeah, please. It was the crossing of the Rubicon into complete trash. It was. So, nevertheless, we moved over into the steroid era, and everybody was watching Home Run Derby, except it was really just your normal baseball game. Whether you want to say it was corked bats, whether or not you want to say it was corked balls, or whether you just want to go with the obvious that a whole lot of people are doing a whole lot of stuff of the pharmaceutical variety. Whether we're talking about tests, whether or not we're talking about HGH, whether or not we're talking about whatever else we were on, it was pretty darn clear. You saw this almost exponential jump in home runs in about a 5-year span. You saw Barry Bonds going from like somebody in the 170, 180 range to like well over 220, and it won't fat. He wasn't looking like John Kruk. He was looking like Terry Bollea out there. So you had the big home run derby race with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds. And then you had Barry break the home run record. Although, again, anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear knows that something stinks in the proverbial state of the MLB during that. So that's why most people don't even recognize that record as being legit. That record's got to have the biggest asterisks of all time. Okay? Biggest asterisks of all time. It's got to have it. Which is probably why almost nobody from that era is in the Hall of Fame. You got Rafael Palmeiro, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, and of course the obvious, Barry Bonds. I hope none of these clowns get the Cooperstown nod. If they do, I hope they get it posthumously, just like Charlie Hustle. It's a joke, man. It's a freaking joke. So in much the same way that the cultural tapestry was kind of sewn in the 60s to accept the anti-hero. If you remember, I've talked about this many times. The first real show with the anti-hero, It Takes a Thief. Because you had a thief, but he was a bad guy, but he was working on the good side. It was blurred lines, man. Much in the same way, you saw the same, what was that stupid serial killer show? I can't think of it. Dexter, yeah. In the 2000s. And I guess it's back again because, of course, everybody's got the creativity of a gnat, so they just have to keep remaking old stuff because everything old's new again just because people are too stupid to come up with anything new. So we got Dexter back again, I guess. Anyway, same premise, but it was really first originated in the 1960s, where you saw the infusion of the drug culture, the promiscuity culture, I don't even say the gambling culture, the gay culture, the tranny culture, the Stonewall and all the gays and trannies and all the promiscuity of Woodstock and the electric Kool-Aid acid test, everybody's a druggy piece of dung. So how does this connect to what I'm talking about? Well, the steroid era kind of ushered in baseball the same thing that we're seeing now in basketball. Because it kind of just greased the skids for everybody to accept lower and lower morality, more debased actions by their alleged sports stars, a.k.a. the heroes. And I think that's what we're seeing today. I've hardly even heard a whisper on ESPN about this. It's on there. Yeah, it's on the screen. Don't worry. You look up this mess on ESPN, sure. But what are they really saying about this? I'd say they're vastly sweeping this under the rug. Because they can't say much. Because the NBA has been one of the biggest promoters of DraftKings. Biggest promoters of FanDuel. You got all the major stars supporting this crap. If you watch any of the analysis shows, and I don't even know if you can call it that, but if you watch any of the NBA analysis shows, they've now started weaving in the odds. What are the odds on this? What are the odds of that? What are the odds on this game? And I noticed this about 10 years ago where they started infusing the word narrative into all these various sports shows. The narrative with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. The narrative of Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. What's the narrative with Dwight Howard and his beef with Shaq? What's the narrative? And call me old-fashioned and to get off my lawn guy. I hope to God that's your take on me. But it's kind of comical, folks, because I was under the illusion, auspice, and otherwise mindset that this was just sports. I don't really care who LeBron is doing anything off the court with. I don't really care what Kobe's doing off the court. I care about what goes on the court. So I don't want to hear about a narrative. I don't want to hear about who's beefing with who, and I don't care about social media comments. I care about what's going on between the baselines of the NBA game during the actual game, not the preseason, not the halftime show, not what's going on like 2 hours before the game, who's practicing, who's not. That's just irrelevant, dribblish crud, folks. The game. Call me a purist, but I'm interested in the game. That's what I used to enjoy about the NBA. It's what I used to enjoy about the college game. The college game's been ruined by every player that's even worth a toot going to the NBA after one season. And I'd say the college game's also been ruined by AAU. They've held these little kids up to this asinine standard from the time they're in like third grade till the time they're about to go into college. Everybody gets told how great they are. They're the next big thing. They're going to make all this money. They're going to do X, Y, and Z. So their entire life now isn't about being a kid, isn't about going to school, going to the prom, dating girls, anything else. It's about what you're going to do in AAU to prove your worth so you can get selected by a top-tier Division I team so then you can go directly into the NBA draft after about 3 months of college. About 3 months. Because don't kid yourself like they're going the full year. Please, that's stupid, man. They're going to school maybe 3 months. That's like actually like class time, maybe 3 months. And I realize they're going to training camp at the university and then they're perhaps going into the postseason at the university. Perhaps. You could just be going for about 3 months and then you just leave. Then you sit around, rest on your laurels, and hope to get drafted in the lottery. Then you'll get some $1 million contract based on what might be, what could be, what he possibly could do. That might work out, that might not. You're a multimillionaire, so who really cares? You better hope you got a real good plan to manage that money. Most don't. That's why you have once millionaires now on the verge of homeless in a matter of years after their quote-unquote playing career is over. But it's comical to me that the NBA and ESPN is kind of trying to downplay this because they're the primary movers and shakers that are promulgating this. The gambling culture has been normalized by the big leagues, but mostly the NBA. You can't even watch a show about the NBA without somebody mentioning exactly what I said. What's the odds on the game? How do you think this game's going to... You think this kid's going to make it in the postseason? What do you think the gambling tickets looking like on this and that and the other? And then, of course, the aforementioned narrative. Very little talk about the game. That's just kind of secondary. That's why the skills of American players are such a complete joke. That's why most teams would rather draft a European player because at least they know they got fundamentals down. They might not be the human highlight reel and jump through the gym. They might not be able to shoot the 3-ball like Steph, but hey, they can pass, they can shoot, they can hit foul shots, they know where to cut, they know how to defend, pick and roll, they know how to defend different defenses. You know, average American player can barely play the game. That's what's so comical when you look at this big discrepancy. Oh, the athleticism is so insane now. I don't even think that's true. But even if it is, the knowledge of the game is just, I wouldn't even say secondary, maybe tertiary now. So it's like, oh, they can jump out the gym. Okay. Can they pass? Can they shoot? Can they run? Can they score in any other way? Not so much. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. They're selling the American people a joke product. And the American people are such a joke, they buy it. They buy into it. There's a great meme. I should have pulled this one up. It's Steph Curry walking through the tunnel going back to the locker room and some fan holding his hand down there. Oh, like, please touch me, oh, great one. Please touch me. And Steph just doesn't even acknowledge him. Just goes right through him. Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care, folks. The players don't care. Okay? They don't. They don't care about you. They don't care about the game. They don't care about their team, their city, none of it. That's why you've seen such these asinine little tantrum outbursts in the last few years. I mean, countless players like, oh my God, this fan said something bad about me. I heard him say it too. And if that doesn't work, oh, they said the special word. Ooh, you can't say the word. I can't. This brings me to tears. Someone said the special word somewhere in earshot of the arena, and they might have been a Blanco. Oh, no. Guess this is how it goes. The weakest, most pathetic people are playing these games now. But then, again, the sports, the media, the music, the entertainment, it's all just really a reflection of the reality of the actual plebs, the slaves, the people. So if the people are weak, of course their sports stars are weak. Of course the musicians are weak. Duh. They got raised, indoctrinated with that nonsense. That's, of course, what's going on. So, just a reflecting pool, folks. Just that big old reflecting pool. Ever look into Narcissus? That's where the word narcissism comes from. Lovely little parable, I guess you could say. Narcissus. Look into it. But that's why we are such a narcissistic society. That's it, folks. It's a reflecting pool. These boobs that are on the screen there, they don't care about you. They don't care about the city or anything else. They care about a paycheck. That's it. So if they can con, hustle, and dodge the American slave into believing that they care, they can get them adopted into that parasocial reality. Oh, I believe LeBron looked at me. Oh, we're buddies. Yeah, me and LeBron. Yeah. He gave me a high five in one game. I was, maybe. It's asinine, folks. They don't care. So that's the irony of ironies, is that these stupid joke leagues are trying to sweep under the rug what they created. They created this global market for the NBA. They're trying to pull more and more Chinese players in to the NBA. They're trying to make this a global market, so they don't even give a rat's backside about you. They don't give a crap if you like them in Denver as a Denver Nuggets fan. They don't give a rat's backside if you're a Miami Heat fan and show up to the games, because now they're going to pull their market shares from across the pond, from every other little spot on the globe. So whether or not you show up to these joke level games is kind of irrelevant, because they're still going to get their monies coming in. And here's another obvious one, in case you hadn't realized it yet. The real end game here is for the leagues to be dissolved. So everybody that's griping and moaning, oh, X, Y, and Z is making all this money. Okay, well, stop going to the games. Stop buying into it. Stop buying the jerseys and the balls and the shoes and everything else. But as I just said, that's not really going to be very consequential, because they're getting their money not here domestically. So the real coup de grace is when the next collective bargaining agreement comes through with the NBA, and you'll see this with the other leagues as well, is you're not going to see this guaranteed money anymore. NBA is virtually the only league that you're getting guaranteed money. You're not getting that in football. So you're going to see the dissolving of this guaranteed money thing. And then you're going to have people say, yo, didn't so-and-so have something to do with this gambling thing? Didn't so-and-so possibly cheat on a game? Didn't so-and-so besmirch the honor of the team? Fill in whatever team you care about. And then that's the case, they're going to find a way to not pay you so much anymore. Because after all, as I've already mentioned, your skill set is joke level anyway. You might have some athleticism, but your skill set's a joke. So why are we going to play this American black player all this money when we can play and pay pennies on the dollar this European player? More skilled, less money, better product. And they're already marketing across the pond anyway. So who the bleep do you think they really give a rat's ass about? It's not you. It's not you in the American slum hole, in the communist bleep hole city that you want to pander to these morons. While simultaneously, this is the prime movers and shakers that are urinating in your face with BLM, with the gay pride crap. They're urinating in your face. They are rubbing your face in the brown stuff, folks. Any kind of wake-up call coming through yet? Hello, this is reality. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? What else we got? We got the biggest star that's fading fast, LeBron James. Who's going to replace old LeBronzy? LeBronzy couldn't possibly be involved in this gambling, right? That's funny. His name's mentioned in all this, too. That's funny. He hasn't played a lick this season yet. I know, 2 games in, John, you're putting a lot of pressure on the king. I would suggest to you that he's probably not playing because he knows what's coming down. He's pretty sure his name's going to be implicated in this thing. He might be getting some metal bracelets and a perp walk himself. Because here's the thing, folks. When you start picking people up, and if you missed this in the Kash Patel PR piece there, he said there was 30 people arrested. I just gave you 3. So the 3 were the big names. The other 30, probably not so big names, not household names anyway. So what you think's going to happen when they get everybody in their own little separate room and they start turning the screws a little bit? I would suggest to you that these people are going to start squealing like canaries. And that is why and how you might actually get old LeBronzy indicted in something. Because after all, he's on his final lap anyway. He's probably not coming back. The Lakers ain't winning jack. He's not ever going to be the GOAT in 90% of the American public's eyes. Just not happening. So that's the problem, folks. That's the real deal Holyfield of this whole thing. They're looking for that next big star. Who's it going to be? I don't know. I don't really care. I think a lot of people thought Steph Curry was going to surpass LBJ, but great shooter. But I don't know if he has the star power punch, the manufactured star power punch from LeBron James, from Kobe Bryant, and from definitely Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Anybody miss some pretty key elements here? Anybody miss the fact that Michael Jordan's dad was killed? Murdered. Right here in the old North State. Not too far from where I am, actually. But he was murdered. And all kinds of very alleged and illicit ties to his gambling debts. A lot has been said of Michael Jordan, his propensity for gambling. A lot of people would hazard a guess, if not hypothesize. That's why Jordan took his first break from the NBA. Many people have said it wasn't actually a retirement. It was David Stern saying, yo, you're out of here. You can do it my way or your way. Because he knew he was implicated in a lot of gambling. And the death of his father would just cemented it, if you will. So yes, that's just known reality. This is a conspiracy. Everybody knows these things. Same thing with Charles Barkley. Anybody who knows Charles Barkley knows he's a big-time gambler. Any ties to any of these old 90s stars and improprieties like we're seeing right here? I guarantee you these are RICO cases. These are going to be RICO cases. So any ties to that? Just wondering out loud here. Thinking to myself, perhaps. So what else we got on the docket? We got steroids, baby. Steroids time. See, LeBron's over 40 now, and he's playing in whatever it is, year 22, 21. I've lost count. I really don't care. But a lot of people have been linking old LeBronzy to steroids. I'll run down the rundown for you, folks. Jeff Teague was one of the first to come out a couple years ago and say LeBron was on steroids when he was in Miami. Not 1, not 2, not 3. I guess he didn't take enough steroids to get all those rings that he had promised, right? So Jeff Teague said that was what was up way back a couple years ago, I think. He said that's why he sat out for 3 or 4 weeks there, because the NBA had just begun HGH testing. He said he was sitting out because of his espalda, his back, but perhaps it was a little something else. Came back awful svelte after his little stint on the DL, disabled list, So there's that. We got what? Biogenesis. This is from 2013. His friends and business manager, Randy Mims, and you got another associate, David Alexander. I believe that was a trainer. Both tied to old LBJ. Both went down with Biogenesis. That'd be the big steroid, HGH. ring. Two guys just really intimately tied with LeBron James, but not a peep, huh? Nope. Passed every test. He's just doing fine. He's just a freak of nature. He's so strong, you know. He's so powerful. But wait, there's more. We got UFC fighter Shell Sonne Soner. Shell Soner. I'm not familiar with the UFC. UFC fighter Shell Soner on the Flagrant podcast in 2023 said he knows intimately who LeBron's drug man is. He says a little something called EPO, increases your red blood cell count, helps you out in the pharmaceutical variety, you know. So old Soner's saying he's got some information about this. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. I just have a really bad feeling, or is it a good feeling? That old Violent Femme song, good feeling, won't you stay with me? So I got a bad or good feeling that old LBJ, LeBron James, just might see an indictment on this thing. He might just not do very much playing this year. It might be because of a lingering injury. It might be because he's wink, wink, trying to get his son more involved in the Lakers as he sings his swan song. Adios, LeBron Z. Oh, it's been such a fun ride. Chosen one. I don't know, folks. That's just me on this whole front, you know? All the links seem to indicate something stinks in LeBron's camp, you know? We had Kevin Garnett, Hall of Famer, champion, loudmouth, also coming out and saying that LeBron was on the juice. Does have to make you wonder now, doesn't it? What the world's really going down in LeBron James town? What else we got that's just downright humiliatingly funny with old LeBronzy? The Promise School. I had to pull these stats up. I heard them, but then I forgot them for reasons because I just don't care. No 8th grader passed the state math test at the Promise School. Some in that demographic were the bottom 5% in the state of Ohio. That's LBJ's Promise School. I've heard so many good things about LeBron. He's such a dedicated family man. He's such a great humanitarian. You know, he's in the back pockets of all those communists. Real good friends with Barry Soetoro, too, you know. Here's another one that you got to wonder, you know, as Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you go, Because he's come out on many occasions talking about Diddy, diddly-do. P. Diddy if you're nasty. You know, that boob, that asset, that agent. And people ain't going to believe me on this. And let me see if I can pull this up for you, because somebody's doubting my words. Here's one for you, folks. Take that down. Yeah, we want to look at this one. This is from airmail.news. Was Sean Diddy Combs' father murdered by the mob? Does a bear defecate in the woods, folks? Just asking. Yeah, here's the deal, folks. Old Diddly Doo's dada was definitely a FBI asset. He was an informant. And he got snuffed out by a mob family. Mm-hmm. That's just common knowledge. I mean, I thought everybody knew that. And then you got old Diddly Doo, Sean Diddly D, convicted of 2 counts prostitution-related charges after an 8-week trial. The trial acquitted Combs of sex trafficking and racketeering charges that he faced. And now he's hoping old DJT is going to pardon him. He's hoping old Donald John Trumpy Trump is going to pardon the diddly do. The capping baby oil. The Diddy party. Anyway, I say all that to say this. Old LBJ was all too happy to say he hardly missed a Diddy party. He went to more Diddy parties than anybody. And now we know what was going on at those Diddy parties, don't we, folks? Some diddly diddling of the male-on-male action variety. Exactly. Anybody who believes he was not involved in any kind of trafficking, was not involved in any kind of dark side of the force, a la the Moitas, had no involvement in Tupac, had no involvement of what's that other big boob? Notorious B.I.G. Anyway, nothing to do with that. Nay. You see, the apple don't fall far from the tree. So old Diddly Do is an asset too, just like his padre was too. Yeah. So I don't know why anybody thought that old Diddly Do was going to go to prison. Please, come on. What's the newest shtick? He almost got shanked into prison. He almost got shanked in the hooskow. Diddly do. I feel so bad for you. Everybody knew this fool wasn't going to prison, folks. He knew where the bodies were buried. He had the blackmail juice, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein had all those crackers, all those politicians and musicians and celebrities too. But Diddly Do had a different demographic, don't you see? He had the black demographic of celebritydom, of Hollywooddom, of the music industry too. The hip-hop world extraordinaire, yeah. He had the same kind of blackmail juice as Epstein, so you know blame well he won't go into jail. Come on. Please tell me you weren't that stupid. Please, nobody in the listening audience of my show thought Diddly Do was actually going to serve any time. Get out of here. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if DJT don't pardon Diddly Do and Ghislaine Maxwell too. Maybe they can all meet back up on Epstein Island, because anybody who thinks that joker's dead, man, I got some waterfront property to sell you in Arizona. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you who still identify as human, I'm signing off tonight. I've done my piece. I've said my thing. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Please get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the anomic age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.